Finally, the 1.4.7 update for Grounded has landed in the game for everyone to try out. It has been well over a month since it was added to the public test server, but now everybody can play it on all platforms. So Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, PC, via Steam and Windows, everybody can jump in and try it out. So this is the first time I'm looking at the patch notes. There have been some changes that were not in the public test server. So some of this I'll be reading for the first time, so you'll get my genuine, honest reaction to it. I want to say right up front, though, if you do enjoy these kind of videos, make sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing so you don't miss any in the future. General changes. Added an AFK state to Grounded. Now when the player is inactive for 60 seconds, hunger thirst is now reduced by 95% until the player returns. Definitely a good change. I can see this being useful in both playing solo or multiplayer. If you're playing solo, I have like my infinite aphid and weevil trap. And for that to work out best, I usually just have to AFK near the trap. So the trap fills up and the enemies, the aphids and weevils don't despawn, because if you go too far away, they will despawn. So I could see that being useful for that. It could also be useful if you're playing in a group and you need to walk away to use the bathroom, get a snack, take a phone call, whatever, and you're gone for a little bit of time. That way your hunger and thirst won't drain at the normal rate. So definitely a good change there. And one that was not in the public test server as far as I know. Zipline speed boost. When using the zipper, zipline speed is now 50% faster. Should benefit pretty much everybody. That's an awesome change. Gamepad movement. Walking slower than sprint no longer drains stamina. So that'll benefit those of you on a controller. Natural Explorer mutation, Aphid Slippers, speed boost. Now gives players their speed boost back immediately after combat. So there was a bug where after killing an enemy or after exiting combat or fleeing from combat, that your speed boost would take way longer than it should for it to kick back in. So that's definitely going to be helpful, especially for traversing around the yard. Lore Trap update now attracts all land creatures except stink bugs, green shield bugs, and all water creatures. I used to use the Lore Trap way back when it was like when I was first playing the game, and it was definitely useful for farming bug parts. At some point, it felt like it stopped working, but now with these changes to it, I'm definitely going to try it out because it could actually be a good way of farming bug parts for relatively cheap as a alternative to using the waft emitter. Pet updates increased all pet health by 150%. That's only going to matter to you if you're playing on WoW mode. On mild or medium, the pets have infinite health. So if you're playing on WoW mode, your pet should stay alive a little bit longer. Aphid pet buffs reduced stamina drain while sprinting by 30% was 20%, increased player movement speed by 15%. I could see myself using this early on because I love being able to move as fast as possible, and I love not having to worry about my stamina. Weevil pet buffs reduces thirst drain by 50%, was 20, reduces hunger drain by 50%. So if you don't want to have to worry about eating and drinking frequently, this could definitely be a useful pet to have pretty much throughout the entire game. The only thing I'm not seeing on here is I would love to see them consider changing the gnat, because the gnat I think is a pet that almost nobody uses, because I think right now all it does is let you glide further or something like that with the tufts, which is kind of just doesn't feel that great. My suggestion for it would have been to make it where you just don't take fall damage if you have it as your pet. So it could be something like the Daredevil mutation, an alternative to it, before you unlock that, where if you fall out of the hedge or something, or you fall from a high distance, you take damage, but you don't actually die from the fall damage. That could be something to consider, or maybe something else. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Boss adjustments. The Mantis boss, the Scream attack can now be perfect blocked. Good change. In my opinion, everything in the game should be able to be perfect blocked. You should reward skill. Now, the big changes in this update are mainly focused around the NG+, so going into the remixed yards. And the biggest change is going to be armor upgrade expansion. So you can now upgrade all your armor to level 15. Upgrade costs have been reduced by 40% since the last public test build. This is significant, and I guess I'll look at the actual upgrade stats in the near future, but this is definitely a good change. I came up with a couple of suggestions on how I thought upgrade costs could be made to feel a little bit more fair. And since armor, generally you're going to have 3 pieces of armor on, whether it's a full set or just a mix and match of 3 different pieces, it would take 3 times longer, 3 times as many resources to upgrade one armor set versus one weapon. So this is definitely a step in the right direction. And the upgrade stats you can see here, basically it adds, I think it's like 25% per level, all the way up to 215%. And you'll definitely need these because you're going to take, the bugs are going to do a lot more damage as you move up in NG pluses. Infusion attack damage significantly reduced against buildings, helping in Java-matic and base defenses. This will be helpful when you get attacked by like wasps or something like that. So your base doesn't get just completely destroyed or torn apart by a single infused wasp. So definitely a good change there. Although we'll see, it doesn't say, it says significantly reduced. So again, I'm not exactly sure what percentage it was reduced, but significantly leads me to believe that hopefully your walls won't be getting one shot and stuff like that. Killing the mini mantis no longer counts as killing the mantis for the remixer room door. Only rewards 3,000 raw science per kill. I think that's only in like higher NG pluses. Like I think it's NG plus 4 or something like that. I've never even gotten to the part where there's multiple mantises in the fight. New custom game option. You can now adjust the remix level in survival mode. So for those of you in custom game mode, you can see that remix level now displays at past level 10 in the same menu. Remix shard scaling updates. Raw science rewards scaled with remix level. Infused creatures base reward of 3,000 raw science increases by 10% per remix level. I still think there's room for improvement on this. I personally don't feel like it's fair that an infused mite gives the same amount of raw science as an infused wolf spider or infused black widow. I think they should be scaled. I think whatever they decide the baseline is should be for the weakest of enemies, and it should kind of scale up depending on either the health or whatever, either the tier of the enemy, something like that. I just think you should get rewarded more for killing tougher infused enemies, even though theoretically an infused mite, lawn mite, could be harder to kill than like an infused spider, depending on the buffs it has. But in general, and like the grand scheme of things, you're going to kill the infused mite, lawn mite much faster than you are an infused spider. Boss rewards now 12,000 raw science, increasing by 30%. That's up from the 3,000 before this update, but less than the 30,000 that was originally in the PTS. So I know a lot of people are going to be like, they nerfed the raw science. It is 4 times higher than it was before, but it is significantly lower than the 30K. Personally, the 30K felt too high, in my opinion, for the infected ladybug boss and the assistant manager. That just seemed like crazy because they were super easy to kill in New Game Plus 1 specifically, like literally just rolled them. But I think this is maybe a happy medium here. Although I'd like to see the same kind of thing. Maybe there's going to be different tiers for the bosses. There's something about the infected broodmother here, which we'll get to in a second. Boss drops at remix level 4, NG plus 4 and up. Bosses have a 30% chance to drop extra infused ooze. Burgle quests and raw science pickups increase by 100% per remix level. So you should be able to get raw science at a little bit better rate. Infected broodmother has a separate scaling compared to other bosses. The IBM now, it rewards 40,000 raw science, increased by 30% per remix level. So at least the infected broodmother, which is exponentially harder than all the other bosses, is giving you more. But it could be that maybe they do something like the assistant manager and the infected ladybug are 12K. Infected broodmother is 40K, and maybe they do like the hedge broodmother, the mantis, and the wasp queen and schmecter are somewhere in between those two numbers on like a scale that I think that will be in the long term more beneficial and give more reason to farm some of those bosses. Because honestly, if you're getting 12K per boss, you'd probably rather farm the hedge broodmother than farm like the wasp queen or the mantis, right? So just kind of again rewarding, providing rewards based on the level of difficulty rather than just a flat amount. Creature damage scaling adjustment. New scaling system replaces the old linear scale. So the old system was 20% damage for remix level. Now it starts in 20%, but increases by larger amounts. So it goes, instead of going 20, 40, 60, it's going to be 20, 45, 75. So it's 20%, 25%, 30%. So essentially, every NG plus level is going to be harder than it was before, but they've kind of given you armor upgrades, which should help compensate for that a little bit. Mutation changes, Barbarian mutation, perfect block window, increased by 60%. So you can actually perfect block now with the Barbarian mutation, which is useful because before you couldn't perfect block at all, I don't think. Apex Predator mutation now works with all infused boss weapons. So in NG plus 4 and up, the infused bosses can drop infused weapons. So now they will benefit from the Apex Predator mutation. Playgrounds mode, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't play Playgrounds mode. I'm not going to read all these. I'm going to leave a link for the patch notes in the description down below because I honestly can't give you any type of insight on these as I just don't really play Playgrounds mode. I tried it out when it came out, but not really interested in it. But if you are, you can read them in the description down below. Major bug fixes, additional fixes to help prevent pets from falling through the world. I've heard a lot of people say they've lost pets. I've never lost a pet, knock on wood, so hopefully it doesn't happen to me. Fixed crash when relocating ladders, fixed crash when using Shinobi Sneeze, fixed a bug on scene where achievements did not proc correctly in shared worlds. Cupid arrows no longer make the player invincible if a creature under Cupid's arrow effect is hit by the player, the effect disappears and the creature becomes hostile again. Well, that could be a good way to that would have been a good way of cheesing enemies. Shoot it with the Cupid arrow, do a bunch of damage to it, then shoot it with another Cupid arrow, so it literally just stands there and lets you kill it. Bug fixes. Salty weapons now properly turn underwater creatures into jerky. Ambassador and pets having the Ambassador trinket will no longer make ants see you as in the anthill. Pet gnats won't stop following you if you bump into them. Burgle quest, some quests that wouldn't complete now are probably fixed. Quest number 10 for Burgle now correctly asks for normal smoothies. There's a playground building fix here. Antenna and field station. Okay, so that's more antenna. That's more playgrounds. Antenna gear summons now correctly aggro enemies on spawn. Burgle's spare eye spatula now probably increase the crit rate of the old flipper. Critical hit chance for finale crit boost effects can no longer stack infinitely. Fixed world issues players can no longer fall to the world. At the woodpile entrance, there was a kind of like a spot up on the blue tarp where you could fall through. Various fire ant hill spawn issues fix, and some UI and localization fixes. So overall, I think this is a great update for the game. Definitely going to make it, it helps the base game a little bit out here, especially with the changes to the zipper and with the changes to the pets here, as well as the change. What was the other change? The change to the Mantis boss being the block being able to be blocked, as well as the mutation changes here. And then if you're an NG Plus player, you'll now be able to upgrade your armor. They've reduced the cost of upgrading it, so that's cool. It says upgrade armor cost been reduced by 40%. I wonder. I think that's only levels 10 and up though, so I'll have to check it. I don't think they've reduced it for the entire game, but we'll check that out at some point in the near future. But overall, good changes here. Still think there's a little bit more room for some tweaking here, especially with the raw science rewards for NG Plus, and it's something I'm sure they'll consider in the future. But overall, good update here. So let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Let me know how it's going to affect your gameplay. I'll be checking the update out. I might be checking it out tomorrow since it's dropped today. And I might actually do a little short stream tomorrow and check out the update to see overall. I might actually test out the lore trap. That might be something cool worth checking out just to see how it works. So anyway, that's the update for Grounded. You can check it out on all platforms. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button. Consider subscribing for content just like this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.